Welcome back. This is the Poet Is a Human with the Philosopher Dunamis on this week's episode number 30. Fight for holistic medicine. Please be sure to hit that like button on your way in. And if you like us, consider subscribing to keep up with our episodes on YouTube and give us a follow on X.
And Fightcast is here to empower individuals to live healthier, master finances, pursue dreams, and inspire others through self-awareness and global impact. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only, and not financial advice.
Dunamis, what you working with today?
Well, I'll say right now I'm lighting up a fatty.
There you go.
I need it. And I'll say it may take me a moment, but it's been sort of a tough week. I've been doing some shadow work here recently, trying to work on some of the mental things that I've got going on, and I think incidentally I uncovered some memories that were maybe meant to stay buried. I don't know, but so I'm been in the process of confronting that. It's not something I can really talk about, but I experience it again, and so the week was sort of starting off a little rough, and then I had a scheduling conflict. I'm not real organized at the moment, and I basically chose to do something else rather than go to church on Tuesday. So that I think kind of bled, and then I missed a couple workouts, and so I think I've taken a step back mentally here in the past few days, but we get a new week here in a couple of days, so I get to reset, and I hope your week's gone a lot better.
You know, man, it's been a really good week. I started the week off recording a music video. It's going to be set to be released here in June. I've featured my father in it as well. It's called Bleed Beautiful, which is going to be the single that's going to be on the newest album, Cozy Chronicles Part 2. So I'm really, really excited for it and the collaboration with Nick Mamone, who was the videographer. And shout out to the beautiful city of Columbus for always being a good representative of location and giving us the visual that we need to really manifest these dreams that we're all about. And all in all, it's been really awesome to collaborate with the team and circle back around, look at everything at its entirety, and create some clear cut goals, man. Yeah, it's been really great. It's been really great.
That's awesome. And you've been and you're finishing up recording.
Yeah, so I'm all finished with recording. I've actually been finished with it for probably about I'd say several days. I'd say several days, honestly, just because there were some minor revisions that I made for transitional purposes and so on and so forth. You know, to really give it the theatrical feel I wanted to showcase. But yeah, finished with that. Got the artwork done as well. Finishing the lyrics, getting all the lyrics typed up, and getting them ready for protection as well. So yeah, I'm feeling great, man. Everything's falling into place, and I'm chilling. I'm trying to chill.
Yeah. Tonight we're talking about medicine, and when you're just trying to chill, sometimes we think like drinking alcohol, for example, in the evening as a form of medicine, or they call it self-medicating, right? But it's not really, it's not medicine though, right? When you're drinking alcohol, that's poison. I think tonight and I'm not here to bash drinking alcohol. I drink alcohol, that's one of my problems, but it's I've been looking into alternatives. Kin Euphorics is a brand. I started drinking a bit of what they have, but when we mention brand names tonight, I want to say that this is not we don't endorse any particular brand or product that we're talking about this evening. Nobody's reached out to us. We're not paid by anybody. There's no sponsors, and so these are just products that I've tried or we've tried that have worked out, really well. And the Kinuforix is kind of one of those things that has mushrooms. It has no THC, no alcohol, but it's just a nice, relaxing evening beverage. But
Okay.
one of the things that in the morning for morning routine that we were talking about in the last episode was the mushroom coffee and the black seed oil. And I just recently started trying black seed oil this week, so we're gonna see how that goes.
Yeah, so dope. So dope. Mushroom coffee, if you guys haven't tried it, definitely do your research, look into. There's so many different types. So whatever your tolerance is, like I said prior, I like the muddy water. I don't really care about the taste of it. As long as it's nice and warm and I can put a little honey in it, I'm all right with it. Workout regimen is key, and really time management is key. I feel that all of those things create a much better peace of mind when you've been able to compartmentalize in everything in its sorts, and you're better able to balance your stress levels out. And yeah, I think that's just better well-being.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it helps if you can relax with a fatty every now and then if you've had a bad week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Or if you have the ability to smoke 3 of them a day, or 5 or 10, or whatever your tolerance and preference is. Yeah, and I think in conjunction to not only just having good time management and being able to prioritize, compartmentalize, I think that good diet helps also. That definitely plays into it. If you're eating some of the wrong things, then you're creating stress on your body to work a little bit harder to do certain things, and that may physically be something that appears over time, if not looked at thoroughly. So my father always told me to treat my body like a temple. That was his mantra to me prior to me going to college to play football, and worked my tail off, lost my way a bit, didn't work out for a while, but it's been way more consistent these days. And the meditation, which we'll delve into a little bit later, has definitely been a huge lift, and definitely a huge wave for me to be able to build my bricks, my stones, and build my roads and crossing. Yeah, shout out to meditation, shout out to physical activity, and shout out to good people as well. Good people. That's also very healthy. That's very good for your diet as well.
Well,
No harm.
speaking of good people, I did make it back out to karaoke, and my cousin came out again. Definitely have met some people there, which is interesting, but it's nice to have a friend that can kind of go and be there. So definitely good people. The thing that you mentioned about the diet too, I had taken some notes. When we're talking about holistic medicine and food, Hippocrates was considered the father of medicine, and he's known for having the thought that, I think the phrase is something along the lines of let their medicine be food. I don't
Mm.
know if that's an exact quote or if I got that wrong, but the idea is, yeah, if you're eating the right foods, the foods should heal you. A lot of what is on store shelves today is also not food. It's a food-like product, which is actually more harmful. There are more poisons and toxins in the processed foods. So it's actually not healing your body, but regular food normally harms your body. But we're talking about things like fatty red meat. If things that I associate healthy are normally like somewhat related to a carnivore diet, although I don't think that the people that are just carnivore diet where they're very strict and say they don't, you know, they're not going to eat anything else. I think that's detrimental potentially. I don't know if it's completely detrimental, but it's not. I don't know that that's super helpful. I think you should eat everything that's healthy, but fatty red meat, beef, venison, elk, bison, lamb, all of those kinds of meats, the really red meat is going to probably be the healthiest. But chicken and pork are fine too, and fish, eggs, eating lots and lots of eggs, raw milk. And the other thing that I've been eating again recently are organs. To bring up another brand name, Ancestral Supplements is that one that I told you about. It's got I think it's got like liver and heart and testicle and all kinds of pancreas. Like they have whatever liver. I think it's got them in a capsule, and so you take 6 little capsules. I had read, I guess, the Native Americans would eat the heart of the bison they would take down. It was they would do it to take the power. It's almost like it's a testosterone boosting. These organs provide more nutrient dense minerals than you get out of the typical muscle, from eating steak. So it's just another way to just get a little bit extra, like having that black seed oil. I feel like that's been beneficial. I'm just trying to also get other healthy oils. Like I don't use any canola oil anymore. I don't use any sort of corn oils or clear oils. Basically here we're cooking with tallow. We have ghee, and we'll even cook with coconut oil or bacon fat. So those are all really good oils to cook in. You can cook with olive oil, but you have to be very careful because low quality olive oil will oxidize and then not be good for you if it's heated incorrectly. So just those really high heat fats like tallow and lard and butter are really good to cook with. And I think the more you start to take stuff out or even fast, that the body heals very quickly when you're not putting the toxins and the poisons into it.
Right. Agreed.
So you, speaking of all of this and detox, you drink a green smoothie. Do you drink one every day?
Yeah, I do a mix up. So I try to do 3 days green smoothie, and then I'll do another 3 days or 4 days fruit smoothie or another green smoothie. I'll alternate. But with the green smoothies, I do anything from cucumber to parsley to cilantro to avocado. I usually use banana milk made with Blue Diamond almonds. Not that that really matters, but I thought that was pretty dope because I like Blue Diamonds. So yeah, I do that and spinach as well, kale. So I'll switch between spinach and kale. It's not both unless I don't think it's that serious. I like to do apples as well. Now I will give you a little trick with the apples because the skin of the apple has pectin in it. So that means when you cut those apples with the skin on, when you go to blend it in a smoothie, if you put it in a refrigerator, the actual smoothie over time will become more gelatin like. So if you want to avoid that, just peel the skin off of the apples so you can avoid that.
Wow.
But that was, yeah, it was a little trick that I learned because I was like, why did that happen? So I wanted to get to the root of it. But yeah, and then of course I always like to do my signature honey, and I like to mix in lion's mane powder in there as well. That's good for memory focus. That's one of the many mushroom benefits. So yeah, I like to give myself a little superfood green cleanser. It's one of my favorites.
That's awesome. I was doing I didn't drink the smoothies quite as much, but when I was living up closer to Austin and went through the period where I was really heavily trying to detox to cure diabetes, and I did, but that I found similar things, especially with green. It was the green juice. If you've ever heard of Joe Cross, he had a documentary on Netflix called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And in it, he basically goes 60 days where he doesn't eat anything, but he juices. And all he does is take fruits and vegetables from grocery stores, and he has like a little juicer in the back of his car, and that's all he does is basically juice for 60 days. Loses a ton of weight, gets really, really healthy. One of the things, so his signature juice is basically spinach or kale, a green apple or two, some lemon, and I think there's maybe a cucumber. I'm trying to remember, maybe a little piece of ginger, but I've noticed similar things. But my observation about the apples was not the pectin in the skin with the smoothie, but that you want to, when you're making green juice, use a green apple, and the tartness of the green apple actually cuts through the flavor of the spinach and the kale real well. What
Oh,
other kinds of juices or smoothies and things do you like?
oh man, I really like jackfruit, contrary to a lot of popular belief, or not popular belief, but a lot of people's taste buds don't really like it. But you got to mix it with some good stuff, man. So I usually do jackfruit, passion fruit together, and I usually do that with a splash of orange juice, and I cut it with some water. Alkaline water is what I prefer to use, y'all. But you use what you want, or spring water, or purified water. A little bit of honey again, and to be a little excessive with turmeric in there as well. Of course, another splash of the lion's mane powder and give that a nice blend. I'll do oranges as well. And carrots. I like to pair those together. And I said a good friend of mine, Dunamis, told me or gave me a nice little trick on keeping the colors similar to each other, and that's kind of a
Yeah.
healthier way to pair your fruits to get the best benefits out of them as far as nutrients and just how they go together as far as how they complement each other and what that does for just, I guess, synchronicity of your body.
I think there's flavor benefits too. I don't know why, but I found, you can find all the things that are yellow and juice them together, and it tastes really great. You're gonna have a fantastic yellow juice. You can find basically all of the things that are orange and juice them together, and they will taste great. Um, if you find things of the same color, I don't know why. I don't know how, if God planned it that way, but when you mix colors, you put a bunch of green stuff in, you throw red apples in, and you throw a bunch of stuff that are different colors, you end up with a kind of a muddy looking juice that doesn't taste very well. It doesn't really have a really bright color to it. And if you keep them all the same color, you get this really bright colored juice that also tastes very bright. I don't know.
Hey, it works. So there's got to be something to it. I'm sure that there's some study on that. Haven't really delved too deep into it, but I think it works. And ultimately, you guys can look online, you can look on Pinterest and all over, and probably pop on your algorithm after you listen to this podcast on your Facebook feeds and Instagrams. So you'll be able to find a few of them.
And we covered in some posts this week some of the different healthy plants. I think that there are people in the carnivore diet space that miss out on all of the benefits that plants bring to the table because they assume, all right, that might not be intended to be my main food. And so because it's not my main food, I'm supposed to ignore all of these altogether. And that's really sad because, like we've talked about all the different kinds of teas, green tea, stinging nettle tea, and even drinking like lemon balm with ginger and what that can do to calm an upset stomach. Um, really, plants I think are meant to be medicine, whereas maybe animals are more meant to be food. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
So there is, I have two thoughts. One, I feel like when you'll never really be able to dictate what type of life an animal has, but the animals that we do eat, mind you, do still have souls. And I don't want to sound like I'm too far winged on one end, but I think that also the animal that you eat too is important as well because if that animal said had a good life, then you're also inheriting a part of that as well, which is good food for you and it's attachment. Um, I feel like, but if we're also looking like spiritual, esoterically, an angle of, eating something in like in too much of an abundance, and it becomes like greed. Then I feel like even that, like that gluttony itself, like you feel dense, you feel full, like you're not mobile. You know what I mean? So in its balance, of course, and all of it in the ecosystem. Um, because I feel like, we're in the jungle somewhere and there's a lion by us, then I don't know who wins, but why would you be out in the jungle by yourself with no weapons?
Yeah, no, the lion probably wins that one. Um, when you're talking about the animals and the souls, it reminds me the when I first heard about the Wagyu beef in Japan, and how there are these places in
Hmm.
Japan where they, like, these cattle, they spend their entire lives being massaged. There's like two or three people that'll be there rubbing their muscles, making them relaxed, and they drink beer all day. It supposedly makes for the best beef in the world. And
Delicious.
it's just it really does speak to the fact that and this, I think, also lends into why I've wanted to homestead, because I do believe we're supposed to eat meat, but at the same time I also share your feelings about how animals are treated. And when you hear or even watch, all it takes, you watch a documentary like Food Inc., and you see the way, mass chicken farming and egg production and cattle production is done in the United States at scale for the big companies. And it's sad. But then you think about how people lived 100 or 200 years ago on a homestead, where you had a couple of dairy cows that were a part of the family. Those weren't ever being eaten. And if you did have animals that were being eaten, they were probably cared for pretty well, on a personalized basis. So I do think that there's an ethical responsibility to get more back to that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. There is, because they have eyes like us, and I have a lot of dogs, so I see just a lot of different human faces in these four-legged creatures, and you just have a compassion for them, and more importantly, because they are something to hold value in this, in this world that we live in. That we as people know what we're putting in our bodies.
Mhm.
That's really important too, because if that animal's being stuffed and pumped with a bunch of stuff and you eat it, then you're also eating what that animal's been stuffed and pumped with, and that can't be good in your system either.
Exactly.
And into maybe there's been a lot of that, because truth be told, I mean, we've all had our fair share of McDonald's and Burger King and things like that, and parasites have built, and immunizations have been built to keep these parasites around that could be precancerous and what have you. And I think that's what rolls us into these holistic things, because we've also steered away from even approaching some of these, I guess, modern day body concerns that we have, even with medicine. We
Mhm.
want to fix everything in a lab. And I feel that there's an importance for that, because we still have to be able to explore medicine, and we still have to be able to, expand and what we haven't learned. No, but I feel like our research is a little bit skewed in how we're directing it. We're creating too much of these chemicals versus what's already been grown.
Yeah. Well, we have flat out mentioned the connection with the Rockefellers and the American medical industry, and how petroleum based medicines have basically been codified into law in the United States. And so it's not even, it's so ingrained. I mean, just go to any doctor and ask him to suggest anything to you other than a petroleum based pill that you're going to take every day for the rest of your life, for anything. And it's really amazing the limited number of things a doctor can do to help you. I really don't go to the doctor much anymore. And I'm going to sound like I'm giving all the wrong advice tonight. So don't do what I do. But just understand there's a lot of people out there that don't trust the system as it exists anymore. And yeah, this doesn't matter that, and if somebody has decided regarding like the jab, for example, if somebody has decided to either take it or not take it, I don't think that we should judge a person based on whatever they've had to do in this day and age, especially with the pressure and all of the stuff that has happened in the past 4 years. But yeah, man, we really need to learn how to love each other a lot more, get along, and heal the root causes of some of these problems, because everybody's just medicating symptoms in the United States. And the more everybody medicates symptoms, the more everyone's medical illnesses get worse, mental illnesses as well as obesity and diabetes and cancer and everything else. It's not going to go away. It will just continue to get worse until people fix the food, fix the root cause of the problems, and start actually healing. And fasting is a really, really good way to start that.
Yes, fasting. That's big. Just giving your body time to hit a reset button and get back into its homeostasis. So that way you are able to think with much more clarity in what you're putting into your body. Because the other thing with the pharmaceuticals is not only are you taking something that is just putting a band-aid on something that's much more everlasting, and that's a lot of damage into your mental state as well. And a broken mental is, to me, far worse than anything, because if you don't have the mindset and the willingness and the want to be a healthier, better person for yourself specifically, and more importantly than anything else, then that can lead to just a life of unknowing. And I don't need to go down that road, but I think we all know what happens from there. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
confusion. Just confusion.
there's you know so so much of what has gone on. I can say honestly that we've been sold both the disease and the cure at the same time, except the cure wasn't even a cure. It was just we were sold the disease and a way to cover up the symptoms to the disease. And it's a really, really sad state, I think, for most people. And I include myself in this because I'm not healed yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm still working on getting healed mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I had a big setback, but I think that I'm on my way forward. And one of the things that can really help your mental health more than anything else is getting the right amount of sleep. I've struggled, especially in the past couple of weeks, with this. If you get magnesium into your system before you go to sleep, or melatonin, your body naturally produces melatonin. So your body should be able to produce melatonin and tell you to go to sleep. It doesn't always happen correctly with everybody for a number of reasons. And so there are melatonin supplements. I've tried them, they work. I don't know how much your body becomes dependent on them, so I don't take them anymore. And so my preference nowadays is to have a nice cup of hibiscus tea with a a couple of teaspoons, sorry, 2 teaspoons of a product called Vital Natural Calm is another product on Amazon, and it's just a magnesium supplement that has a little bit of raspberry flavor. And anyways, that can help if you can get yourself to go to sleep at the correct time and wake up early in the morning on a consistent basis. And I'm sure probably 80% of you listening are saying, "Why is that a problem?" Everybody does that, but it is a problem for some people. So
Yeah, appropriate sleep is important, and just knowing your body and when to rest and when to get to work and have that balance of just being able to communicate with what's going on inside of you. I am one to stay up late and work on music, but during the day, I am also giving myself ample amount of time to just rest and silence my mind from distractions and let myself prepare for these times because I know that 7 hours goes to about four, but it gets split up between like a couple hours in the day or, things of that nature. But giving yourself that time and telling yourself that you are allowed that time is, something that I struggle with at times. Just, just that whole like, I want to play a video game, but at the same time, I don't deserve to play a video game because I have to record a song.
Yeah. Yeah. It's getting the hard part over with first. I know it's gonna sound very trivial, but I remember growing up, that was one of the first things I learned was to eat whatever I didn't want on my plate first.
Yeah.
I would go for those I'd go for that broccoli or go for those green beans or that salad and get that out of the way just because when you're hungry, that's when you can eat that stuff. And after you've eaten all the good stuff and you're full, the last thing you want to do is eat what you don't want. So it's kind of the same way with everything, isn't it?
That's real. Yeah, it is.
Uh, got to take
That's,
the pain first.
yeah, you do. Just a little bit. It's like, is this Spycast or is this a Howard Stern podcast?
Well,
What
yeah, man. I'll say over the course of we've been talking right now, I'm definitely feeling a lot more relaxed and feeling a lot better. So, like, plants help, medicine helps. If you're struggling, like, there's something out there that can help calm your mind, that can help ease your anxiety, that can help, soothe that sunburn or whatever it is. The trick is, I think, we skip over the natural stuff to go for something like to put sunscreen on or to go for the aloe vera cream from a bottle or whatever it is, not recognizing that there's poisons in all of that stuff too. The all of these different lotions and creams, makeup, anything that you put on your skin soaks directly through your pores and ultimately ends up in your blood. Even I've seen a lot of the studies about they talk about these microplastics that they say men have microplastics in their balls, and yet we wonder how that happens. And all of our underwear is made out of polyester, so we're basically wearing microplastics on our balls, wondering why there's microplastics. It doesn't. It just doesn't make sense to me sometimes, man. So yeah, I've tried to wear more cotton. I try to wear more cotton and linen and avoid polyester. I don't wear sunscreen anymore. I try to drink more water, but it's so hard because you try to think of things to avoid, like toxins to keep out of your system, and as soon as you can drive yourself crazy, you can imagine very quickly trying to keep the toxins away. And so accepting that there's a certain amount of toxicity in the environment and that we need to detox, right? That's why you need the green smoothie. That's why we need to fast. That's why we need to have the milk thistle and, whatever liver detox, right?
hmm Yeah. And fun fact too, I learned that the seeds from a papaya are very good for you as far as eliminating parasites in your body. So that's another good cleanse for you, and include that with your green juice cleanse. Taking they give you a certain amount. You'll have to look it up, but you can never take too many. Obviously, I wouldn't take like a 3 cups of it.
Mhm.
But like a green smoothie, that'd be good. And do that for 10 days, and that'll help you as well.
Those pomegranate seeds are kind of interesting to sort of chew up, and chia seeds are good too. I always liked. I remember a watermelon juice beverage that I used to drink that was just watermelon juice with chia seeds in it that was really good.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. And you can also juice your own as well. You guys buy your own watermelon and juice that bad boy and put some chia seeds in there and let them sit in your refrigerator for however long. Yeah, mix it up too. I really like juicing. I think that it's a really cool therapeutic thing. I like to either do it later in the evening or do it in the morning. More times in the morning because it's like I get my day started. Give myself a few days worth of juices, and it's kind of
Hmm.
nice to look at in the refrigerator too when you see the different colors, and you
Yeah.
just you get excited to drink it. You know, take
Oh
pride
yeah.
in doing
Yeah.
that.
You're like, I'm gonna grab this bright orange one for breakfast, and then I see that bright green one there. I'm gonna grab that one for lunch. Heck yeah.
Hmm. Absolutely, man. You just got to do it, y'all. That's just it. There's nothing secret about it. You just got to do it. You got to want to do it, and from there, once you do it, you just got to be consistent with it.
Yeah, and that's really the part I think that we need to kind of emphasize today too is just start one of these things, try something, and then like whatever it is, know that that's not you think you're going to find some silver bullet. You're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I found this mushroom coffee. This is the best thing in the world. This is all I need. I just need this and this is it." But but really this journey is so much bigger than that, and it's like I went on a ketogenic diet for a little while and did really well with that. I lowered my blood sugar down, and then I juiced after that and went on a juice cleanse, and that's how I ultimately cured diabetes. But the I don't think it was one or the other. You know what I'm saying? It's like every single one of these concepts does something beneficial for your body. So that's where I tend to differ with the hardcore carnivore diet people is because they say, "Oh, well, you shouldn't drink milk because technically that's not carnivore. You shouldn't eat eggs because that's not carnivore." And it's like, well, that's silly. That's just silly.
Right. That's just silly.
Yeah.
And you see a lot now too, even on the app stores where everybody's different. So I like a lot of these app stores where they help you tailor your body type and what you're eating, that kind of deal, height, weight, so on and so forth, and it gives you a breakdown of what things are good for your body and like what your aim is if you're wanting to lose weight and if you're wanting to gain muscle and so on and so forth. So you know take all of these things with a grain of salt and but utilize them and put them in your tool chest. Like it's good to have
Mhm.
these tools so you can mobilize them at any time versus having to look for it. You already have the information right in front of you. So take this time and all of the podcasts that you've listened to from us and just tailor it into what you feel like you need to do to reach your trajectories and your points. And again, none of this stuff is financial advice. None of this stuff is, gunpoint to the head. This is just things that, we've been able to experience in our lives and our journeys. And yeah, sharing it with you guys is, we'd be doing ourselves a disservice if we weren't sharing it.
Absolutely. And the crazy connections. The great thing about having this podcast is it lets us like ponder and talk about some of these crazy connective things that you and I have discussed just on phone conversations, but like the idea that recently I had sort of been thinking about the gut flora within a human and all of those microbes, all of the bacteria and everything that lives within your stomach that makes you healthy is very similar to the soil and the soil system on the earth. And the soil system on the earth is either healthy or unhealthy, oftentimes based on whether there is the presence of mycelium creating or grasslands that create sort of a web or a network that keeps the soil held in place. The reason that there's kind of a point to all of this rambling, and that is that the system of the soil uses mushrooms, and you talk about animals and souls, and I think about how even fungus appears to have some form of consciousness because it will move naturally to where there are resources. How it knows where it's spreading to Who knows? But it does, and it will move towards the correct resources, and it will create a network. A lot of the ways in which mycelia works, I believe, were probably the inspiration behind ARPANET, which is really where the internet comes from. And these networks are interesting because with mycelium, if you have, resources that are moving underground on this network between, let's say, one tree and another tree, and then something happens and part of that network gets cut, the mycelium can reroute, because you have to think of this like a great big web, right? And so if one little strand gets cut, it can reroute those resources around to other places. The problem is that traditional farming tills the land. And when you till the land, you tear that network apart and you expose the soil to the elements, to sunlight, to rain, to wind, and the soil eventually washes away and the earth becomes desertified. This all is probably, you're wondering, what does this have to do with medicine? Well, I realized that our gut works the same way. And if you can add probiotics and prebiotics into your gut, which means oftentimes fermented foods. If you eat sauerkraut or you eat foods that have been cultured with the correct bacteria, they will help to replenish your gut biome to be able to it works with the mushrooms and the lion's mane and everything else that is firing those signals in your brain to really awaken your health. And so that's another good place to start, I think, would be to look into fermented foods and how adding fermented foods can help your gut health and your digestion. This, again, is not any sort of medical advice. It's just my experience, what I personally had happen to me.
Yeah. And to take you guys on an esoteric path and thinking about how deep this goes with just good diet and good medicine. When you think about what Dunamis mentioned about mycelium and how it travels and even how it receives signals, Dunamis, you and I have talked offline about this and just how sound just has created everything. Everything is matter. And I feel that even with mycelium, it travels with sound and it attracts to certain sounds and certain frequencies and it pulls in that way. And I think that, people, with us, it's like all permaculture, right? We're all in the ecosystem and even the energy that we have within us is all connected energetically to what's grounded at the feet. And, you're also playing a part in that, in that cosmic realm of evolution and how things play out and how you and the nutrients that you provide to the ground.
Yeah.
So all of that in return to then, forming the crops, forming your corn and your potatoes and things like that. You're a big part of what you eat too. It's and I could be as simple as saying like open up your own merch shop and then buy your own clothes and then pay yourself. Yeah, it's like that.
It is, man. Like the cycle of life is so beautiful. It's everything that seems dark and painful, even about death, is really, I heard it said that if it weren't for mushrooms, if it weren't for mycelium and different funguses, that not only would humans not exist, but there would basically be more, the trees and the wood would pile up all the way out to space because there would be nothing to break down plants, to break down wood, to turn it back into soil. And that's one of the biggest things that fungus does. It's a decomposer. And when you think about what the cycle of life is and how, it's dust to dust, we come from dust and we return to dust. And it really is that in its purest, elemental form. And you're right. We're all feeding each other, literally.
Yeah, we really are, man. It sounds a bit morbid to think about, but I mean, it's just the reality. It's just the truth of the matter. And yeah, if you guys don't know much about these mushrooms, man, I highly encourage you guys to do your research on mushrooms and just how much they do contribute to our full ecosystem. I'd say it's everything, but you would think I was crazy if I said that. But if you go back even to our talks of permaculture, and even just when you're forming your own ecosystem, and just how that helps contribute to building that ecosystem and spreading all of that. As everything falls together hand in hand,
Mm-hmm.
from the matter that we have to the matter of our crops to the animals. It all ties into one. And I feel like line those chakras are, the more we realize our responsibility in community as individuals. It's to do. I think it's just making the choice, and because we have so many choices that we can make, it's easy to make a choice that we can say we can come back to this another day. But what is another day? And I think even that we take days for granted because we're not allowed these, we're not just given these days, right? We're given, we're not really given much of anything. So the time that we do have is, it's important. It all starts now.
Yeah. We'll need to probably come back and have a full episode that uncovers more about what we have talked about regarding the garden and what I've done in the garden, just because you're right. I mean, like there was a whole thing with sawdust or straw, I guess, and mycelium to create an entire layer there. And garden design is an interesting thing that we could definitely go into and talk as a bigger subject. But the actual what comes out of the garden is healing. Even here in Texas, there's a lot of things like I struggle growing corn this year just because it hasn't rained a lot, and it's not corn, from what I understand, requires a whole lot of water. But we've got a lot of tomatoes and basil and peppers and things like that, and so all of that is fresh organic produce. We're not buying at the grocery store. It's going directly into meals that are being prepared. So it's you don't have to. This is the other thing that I think that's important to talk about, and in healing and in all of this, because we've talked about so much stuff, is to say that you don't let yourself get overwhelmed trying to do it all. I say that as someone who is overwhelmed trying to do it all, but don't give up. And I think that if you're trying to heal in a specific area, find what it is that can heal you and go in that direction. But there's so many other things. Like, again, I healed one part of my body and then recognized all the other things that I need to heal now. So it's a continual process. I don't think anybody's probably, well, we're never going to be perfect, but I don't know if we're ever even going to be fully healed until that day comes. So
Yeah. Truth be told. Yeah. Oh man. But such is life, dude. Such is life.
hmm
Are there what other fruits or vegetables have you taken a liking to as far as the health benefits go, and things that you try to include in your daily routine?
So there are things that I don't include now that as we're talking, I'm thinking that I need to start incorporating again, and I can definitely go over those a little bit. And it's really in the area of juicing. I, for a long time, made a good habit of juicing, even if I wasn't trying to go on a juice cleanse and cut out food. I would I would sometimes start off the day instead of having coffee. Now I love my mushroom coffee. I'm going to have that, but I would actually start off the day with a ginger cayenne shot. So you basically take about a thumb size of ginger and you throw that in the juicer, and then you throw basically a half a lemon in the juicer, and you basically get 50-50 lemon juice and ginger juice in a shot glass, and then you powder it with cayenne pepper and you take the shot.
Yeah. It's good
That'll
stuff.
wake you up. It's very good.
Yeah.
And I don't even know all the benefits of that, but I know that lemon and ginger and cayenne all have incredible health benefits. So
Right.
the other shot that I would take sometimes in the morning that I would also do myself was just celery and cucumber. If you just do celery and cucumber, it will not taste pleasant. Neither of the you think that it would, but even though they're more or less water, it ends up tasting like a grass shot, but it's very heavy in electrolytes. It's better than any Gatorade you'll ever drink, and Gatorade's got poison in it too. So it's definitely a great shot as a cucumber celery shot.
Oh yeah, okay. Liking that. I'll have to make that for my dad.
Yeah. And one of the last things that I think we can kind of wrap up on here, because it's also maybe a touchy subject, and we've touched on, smoking a J to relax, but PTSD, deep trauma, and psilocybin, or even Charles Hoskinson has gone on his retreats, and I forget, was it ketamine, right?
I believe so.
These sorts of treatments that are maybe a little bit more controversial and skirt the line between something that's recreational and life-changing, life-altering. I can tell you, as somebody who has tripped and both healed and, again, maybe uncovered more than I wanted to, is I think it's beneficial. I think, again, the benefits of psilocybin, magic mushrooms, even peyote or cactus, or these other sort of spiritual trips that people talk about, they remove the ego for a period of time. It allows people to see the universe in a different way and heal emotionally in ways that you couldn't heal sober. And I know that probably some people are not going to agree with that and fight me in the comments, but I think that it's beneficial for some people, and for those people, they should definitely go in that direction. I would also say be careful, because you can unlock stuff you don't want to. So I will also just hint and follow up real quick with the idea of microdosing and ask you what you think about that, Izzy.
I am not opposed to it at all. And I wouldn't say consistently experimented with it, but I've always found that there's a time and a place for these. And if you want me to be honest with you, it was something that I did prior to Cozy Chronicles. I did it once, and I wanted to, I guess, see where everything was at, where I stood mentally, and get a true gauge of that. And I felt like after that, and being able to experience my emotions, and not that I had very many, honestly. That's nice too when you're able to be in those moments and see, like, I don't want to say everything for what it is, but I think a lot of people who have experienced, psychedelics will tell you that there is a reality that you see. It's pretty bare in the sense of, like, it's set, it's right there, but it looks beautiful.
Mhm.
And I think that gave me all of my answers that I needed to go ahead and proceed with everything that's become now. So I think that it is healthy, but I think, again, before you even get involved in those things, you do have to come with a healed mind. Otherwise, you're really going to have a wild trip. And sometimes, having those wild trips, unless you understand the enlightenment of after that, you're just going to live with that, and that's not always that's definitely not easy. So you just got to be mindful. Be mindful of who you are.
Absolutely. And so with that, I think we should state again that, of course, everything that we've said tonight, none of this is medical advice. It's always not financial advice, and none of anything we've mentioned is intended to treat or cure any disease. None of it's been, it evaluated by the FDA. All of those disclaimers. Be careful, but understand that the stuff that's sold to you at the pharmacy is not necessarily medicine. It's oftentimes just a, I don't want to say it's a placebo, because oftentimes the medicines do help with symptoms, and sometimes people really, really need those symptoms to be taken care of, especially depending on how bad they are. But I do think that our goal ultimately, if you're getting healthier, if you're healing, if your focus is holistic medicine and getting better, you should ultimately strive to not be on medication at all. And I should probably be on some, but I'm not.
Oh man, we'll work on it, all right?
We will. And you keep me sane as a human. Every time I get to talk to you, man, I feel better. I feel like I'm going to be able to tackle this next week. And I have you to thank for it, man. I really appreciate what we do every week.
Hey man, likewise to you, brother. It's nice to just be around like-minded people, and it's refreshing. It releases those uncertainties, and that's reassurance for me to just go jumping in for the pile of gold with Jack Sparrow.
Awesome, man. Well, let's do this again next week. I don't quite know what the topic is yet, but we've talked about a couple things, and we'll figure it out. Until then, never give up the fight, Izzy.
Never give up the fight.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less. You check as I'm chess, what's happening next? Yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds, they can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.